the voice in your ears and the face on your screen. I'm Perfect Purvis, and this is Pro Football Sweden. Welcome to season 2, talking football in Sweden. Feel free to comment and send messages about how we're doing all season. We're trying to just continue to get better. And today I am joined by my co-host, Jallo Juice. What up, Juice?
What's up, Purvis? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm technically in Sweden for a little layover situation before I get back to Finland. But yeah, it's been a good week in the States for me. But did
You
get
was
to
in the
watch the
States?
games, so we'll get into it. We're
You was in-
currently I just came back from Atlanta.
Ah, okay.
I've been in Atlanta for about a week. People
All
don't
right.
I wish I would have had time to put stuff on social media and all that, but I be working. So it is what it is. I'll update the world in a couple of days when I get some downtime. Until then, I'm gonna keep podcasting until I can't podcast no more. I saw some Swedish kids and stuff from the PPI tour out there, so that was pretty cool. Saw some Finnish kids as well. But back into this show, we're still currently looking for sponsors, donations, and staff to help keep the podcast going throughout the season. Even though we only got like a month left of the season, anyways, but we still take any help we can get. If you would like to help out, send your inquiries to profootballsweden@gmail.com or hit us in the DMs on Instagram. The PFS podcast is available everywhere you listen to your podcast, and you can see us visually here on YouTube. Wherever you listen or watch, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Now, let's get into some football. Did it go already? Oh, it's not going to say. All right. We got first order, energy. Start with the negative so we can finish with the good from last week's games. Juice, what did you have that was a negative for you from last week's games?
Man, what was a negative for me is that Oslo could not get anything going. It just looked so pathetic. So pathetic. Dre definitely needs some help. I know Örebro is a strong team. They playing like they are the number one team, but you can get something going. Other teams got things going against Örebro. You can get things going. That's really my negative. And well, I would give another negative. Um, it's kind of a blend of negative and positive. Limhamn Griffins had an opportunity to win the game and stay up, and they couldn't finish. Couldn't finish. It was very disappointing.
Yeah, I moved my laptop a little bit because my internet connection must be bad here because it started going out on you. But what did you say about the
The Griffins.
the Carl? No, you weren't talking about Carlstad. You're talking about
No, I talked about Oslo
Obi.
Vikings.
When you said horrible, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Oh, I said what I
Oh, it's
said was
still.
that I said that Örebro is playing like the number one team. However, other teams
Yeah.
have been able to motion against Örebro defense. So it just
Hmm.
was just like really pathetic that they couldn't get anything going for Oslo at all. Like Dre was trying to use his legs, and sometimes he couldn't even do that because the guys are already in the backfield. It just was not very good for Oslo.
Yeah. I'm gonna come back to that because my negative is that I turned on the K Town versus Limham game, and it was already 7-0 at the beginning of the stream. So I missed the like first score and stuff, and there was like 8 minutes left in the first quarter. So there was nothing I could do about that. That shit pisses me off. Like, just, I mean, we know when the games are. We know how to set up the streams. Let's just do that if we can. I'm a little disappointed in that because I really just wasn't able to see what happened. And then they only scored one more time. So I saw the whole game from that point on, but I still felt like I like cheated of like knowing what happened early in the game because that makes a difference of like how a game goes, like what happens with that. I missed the first 5 minutes of the game, not to any fault of my own. And ain't nobody going to these games live. Ain't nobody in the stands. So obviously the video is the best way to get people to see it. So that's my negative. But my positive is Orbru put up 27 in the first quarter. Slight work.
Wow, bro.
Didn't have to watch a whole 2 quarters. It was 27-0 in the first quarter. I was like, shoot, turn this thing off. I agree with you, though. Like, also, they got to get some shit fixed. I mean, but I give the credit to Orbru. They came out there and smacked them. And just like they did Carlstad, belt to ass. That's how they doing it out there nowadays. Belt to ass. I appreciate that. Didn't think Vic wasn't there, but Trevor Vasey was out there slanging that thing like normal. So that's my positive. What was your positive?
Yeah, before I saw Thick Vic after the game. I saw him give a hug to Trevor Vasey at the end. So I know he was there. I just think they just decided to rest him or whatever they decided to do. But yeah, man, like it's a positive to see that. It's a positive to see that Orbru put the spanking on Oslo Vikings. It was like from the get-go. So I mean, that's like kudos to them for putting at least 21 points in the first half. I mean, in the first quarter, but it was actually 27. They scored 4 times. I mean, I like positive. It was just a good
first quarter.
I would say, like in general,
that's crazy.
But it was.
Did not mean to do that. I'm on a different laptop here, and like when I try to move the mouse, it clicks sometimes. Sorry. Continue, Juice. Sorry about that.
Nah, what I was going to say, like in general, I felt like it was a good week of football. I mean, except for Oslo getting whacked. It was just 2 statement games by Tyresö Eikor and Örebro, because Oslo kind of put Örebro out of the playoffs, and they just dominated them. They got their revenge, twice against them, and they just made a statement like, hey, we're better than you. And it was amazing to see Trevor Vasey at quarterback going back to doing his thing. He didn't have to scramble too much, but he was just with ease in that connection Vasey to Ladias. I mean, you don't know Swedish, but it's like, hey, they haven't said that in so long, It's just like, I know that ring sound good. Vasey to Ladias, Statement game to the soul was like, look, bro, we the king of Stockholm right now. They still got to do something against Stockholm Mean Machines. They got to prove against them. But Tyresö did that. And lastly, the rivalry, the derby down there. Well, I guess it's not a derby, but it's just like down there in the south, Limhamn versus Kristianstad. I mean, they play hard for that game, and it's always great to see those two trying to battle it out. And it was a very close game, but unfortunately, for Limhamn, couldn't get it done.
Yeah, it was a good game. The games were good overall, but I think the teams played how they needed to play to get their wins. We'll talk about the Limhamn because the South football is just it is what it is. So we're into the second quarter. We're gonna talk about a couple guys that stood out from last week's games. Juice, you can start us off. who stood out to you this week?
It's one guy I haven't gave a lot of credit to. I wouldn't say like he stood out so much in this week, but I call like linebacker 52. I think he's a really good player. And I kind of already spoiled it. I feel like that, Vasey and Lodias, that connection was just so good. Those were just standout connection. And I mean, and Jakob Brzina, amazing football player. He's doing good here in Sweden. And he's just lights out when he got the ball inside some open space, I feel like somebody can catch him, but ain't nobody catching up to him. So I'm just going to go Bruce playmakers on offense.
That makes sense. I mean, they probably had the most like decisive games. For me, I'm gonna look at defensive back for K-Town Predators, number 13. I think he had a hell of a game. I think he ended up with an interception and a couple of like PBUs or something like that. Like he stood out to me. He made some good plays. He also gave up some big plays as well, but I know how it is playing cornerback. Like it is what it is. But he really stood out to me. He made a couple like key turnovers for them to kind of keep them in the game, because I don't think that their defense played that well in the game. But they made the big plays they needed to, and that's kind of how they ended up winning the game. Big plays, and he was a part of it times. Reminds me, I don't know what that celebration is that they do on defense. Person lays down, everybody kind of like irates over that person, but that shit is lame. Like it just like,
what does it look like?
I mean, obviously it's an inside joke for the Predators. What?
I said, what does it look like?
I mean, I guess it's like one person lays down and like does like a dead like roach or something, and everybody else just kind of like does the same thing back to them. Like, I don't know, is it a circle jerk? I'm not sure what it is. It's probably some type of inside joke that they have. It looks the words that come to mind are lame, whack, and a homophobic slur that I won't say. But like that's what it looks like. Like to me, it just looks like I don't get it. It's something that like you make a celebration that everybody can see, but no one really understands what you're doing except for you. It's a little, little weak for me, because we can't talk about it. We can't like, oh, they did. I loved it when they did the little thing, because it doesn't look like anything, and I don't know what it is. Like it's not easy to like understand. That's the whole point of a celebration, is you do something that people can see from a distance and immediately understand what you're doing. Even when they do the NSYNC bye bye bye, everybody knows that dance is a dance, But outside of that, like I said, number 13 did really well. Even the Griffins, I liked on their offense. Number 4, I still forget his name. Sorry, guys. Like if I don't see the name on the jersey, it's just hard to remember the names. But the receiver number 4, he was like the go-to target for Limhamn early, and I loved it. And then also receiver number 3 made a couple of big plays. One of the touchdowns I was talking about was him. He head topped somebody. At least when you do that, I know what you're saying. So I saw a lot of life from Limhamn. They were up 14-0 for most of the game, and honestly, they really should have won the game. But again, credit to the Predators when it came down to it. Quarterback from the Predators is it number 7 or number 1? I can't ever tell on those jerseys. I think he's number 7, Miles Richardson. That dude is a beast. Like there was just too many moments in the game where he was just like, you know what, fuck it, I got it, and he just takes off and like makes a play because his receivers really weren't getting open. There wasn't a lot for him to do outside of like use his legs, and when he used it, it was the perfect timing at the right spots. And it just really helped them, elevate in that second half when they decided to come back and win that game. So those are my top performers, all from that one game, because that was pretty much the only real game out of the weekend. The other ones, it was so easy for some of the teams that I was just like, can't tell if they were being great or other team was bad. Um, with Orebrew, everybody on defense had a sack, right? What they had like 25 sacks in that game. Hey,
I don't know. They
that's
was
tough.
eating. They
That's
was eating.
and I feel bad for the left tackle. I feel bad for the left tackle from Oslo because he has the white helmet. I guess it's an import or something. And he was getting beat
Now,
too, but it's easier to see that he was getting beat because everybody else has red helmets. So I could see the white helmet standing out. And I'm like, oh, that big dude getting beat too. Ugh, poor guy. Uh, it's my top performers and not so top performers. All right, let's get into the third quarter keys to victory. This week we have Copenhagen Towers versus Limhamn Griffins, Carlstad Crusaders versus Stockholm Mean Machines, and then the last game of the weekend is Tyresö Royal Crowns versus the K-Town Predators. Let's get into the first matchup, Copenhagen Towers versus Limhamn Griffins. What do the Towers have to do in this game to get the upset win, Juice?
I mean, I think the Towers just needs to play solid football. They need to believe in themselves first. I think the battle for them is mental. Um, Again, every team in the league has playmakers. I believe that their quarterback, um, he's going to have to make sure that he don't get injured by taking unnecessary hits that he doesn't need to take. But um, take some shots as well. I think that's the best advice I give them. Take some shots. If it don't work, you know, um, not improvise, but just like build off the stuff that you guys have already.
Didn't they just play each other like 2 weeks ago? Like the schedule is crazy. Some of these they play each other, take a week, play someone else, then come back and play each other. That's just not enough time for there to be a difference. And I'm pretty sure last time these two played, Limham got the better of them and won the game. But I think for Copenhagen in this one, you got to take your shots when you can, but you got to apply pressure. You got to find a way to put pressure on the Griffins and make them feel like they have to score or they have to stop you. Just put some type of pressure on offense or defense. I don't care which one or both if you can, but put pressure on them to do something instead of letting them just kind of work their way through their offense like they normally do. Let's flip it. What do you think the Griffins need to do to get a win in this one?
Griffins also have a mental battle. They need to be sure that they are hungry and, um, defensively, I'm not a big fan of the Griffins, but offensively, they actually have playmakers. Uh, the quarterback and are you with me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
Uh,
It just sounds
sorry.
quiet on my end. I know. I hear that too.
Yeah, simply, I think they just need to get the ball in their playmakers' hands and let their playmakers work. Defensively, they got to make sure that they corral the quarterback for um, the tower of the towers, um, and just try to take him out of the game because he's going to be the one that's keeping them alive in the game.
Yeah, I agree. They got to do a lot. I think for the Griffins, this is one of those games where I would like to see them simplify. I still think it's crazy work that they are using four running backs. They are using four running backs every game. And even in this last game that they ended up losing, I think that had something to do with it. Is you only have one ball. And like you said, they have playmakers, but when you have too many people making the plays, you don't know when to give it to the right person. And I don't think they figured it out yet, and I think it slows them down offensively from being able to create a rhythm, consistency, and a little bit of team chemistry. Also, I think they're changing quarterbacks too. I want to say this is the third quarterback I've seen, but maybe it's the second one coming back because I've seen number 10, I've seen number 8, and I thought I saw another like 2-digit number quarterback earlier in the season. So again, a lot of like changing parts. This was one of those games where I really would like to see them kind of put it all together and know what they want to do offensively. But then on the defensive side, kind of like you said, they're not great defensively, but you're playing against a team that you match up well with. So I think just kind of keep that pressure on them. Last time they played them, they did pressure the Towers well. So I would hope that they could continue that in this game. Let's move to the next one. Next matchup is Carlstad Crusaders versus Stockholm Mean Machines. Huh. So this is like a cross division one? Interesting. Let's go with Carlstad. What do you think they got to do to get the win?
Over Stockholm, yeah. Carlstad,
Yeah.
man, they just came up a close loss in France, man. But shout out to you guys for making it that far. But you guys got to win it. But against the Mean Machines, man, I think they got to make sure they don't lose their heads because we know who the better football team is. And I think Stockholm is probably going to give it all they got because they know that the playoff chances are getting played with by almost every team, in the league. But we have, um, man, I'm tripping. Uh, let's go like this. Offensively, Slade Jarman need to be a general on the football field, like how he always does. Defensively, fly onto the ball, um, put pressure on Gwinner, take away the deep threats from Matthew Resloff and the other receivers that Stockholm has because they can't fall asleep on Stockholm receivers. That's probably still one of the best receiving cores in the league.
Yeah, I agree with you. They definitely have to stop Stockholm receivers, but I think this is one of those situations where you're the better team pretty much in every conceivable way. Even defensively against those receivers, they have a defense talented enough to pressure the quarterback and get after the receivers and keep it to a minimal type of situation from somebody like Resloff. But again, with this team, I feel like we don't always get the same team. And like I said earlier in the season, after they play the international games, they've not played great. So I'd like to see them, get back focused into the Super Serien this week and not really have any dust or rust to knock off. If they could just be consistently themselves, I think this is a good tune-up game because Stockholm has talent, but I don't think they have it all together chemistry-wise, which means Carlstad should be able to get a sizable victory. But if they're not careful, this is one of those like trap games where they can lose to a team that catches them when they're not playing at their best. So I'd like to see them just be consistent. Um, don't let the what is it CFL don't let that loss bleed into the Super Series this week. Just get back focused. This is all you got now. There's no CFL games anymore. So get back to focus on winning this game and building your way to the championship. I think if they do that, they'll be fine. So flipping it over to SMM Stockholm, what can they do to pull the upset?
I mean, they need to practice like a playoff team because for right now, most of these games that they got coming up is going to be like playoff type games. So if they do get in the playoffs, I think they're going to do well because they're playing a lot of tough teams at the end. But speaking about in season, what do they need to do? Hopefully, they got the connection between Brandon and the other receivers. I think Brandon did a good job in the first game. He missed Matt a few times, but it wasn't Brandon's fault actually. And it's very, 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 very rare to see number 8 miss. Drop a pass. Very rare. I never seen Matt drop many passes in my life. Um, defensively, Stockholm needs to do something about those corners. I like the linebacker core. It's okay. I thought it was good, but now it's like okay. The D line is their strength. Their D line is holding them down, honestly. And the secondary at the cornerback position, I'm not a fan of it. Safety wise, okay, cool. Hope Kale is not injured so bad from the hit that he took on the sideline. But that's all I got.
For me, I think Stockholm needs to play offense and try not to play defense. Uh, you said some nice things about their defense, but I mean, I can agree with everything you said, but as a whole, that thing is tissue paper out there. It's poo poo. That defense is that's they can look at almost every loss that they've had, and the defense put them in a position to lose those games. And I don't think they've gotten it fixed. I don't think it's a talent thing. I think it's a chemistry thing. Um, Maybe the players they have are just not gelling together. Maybe there's a lack of communication or something on the field. I've seen some blown coverages on the back end, and just they're like you said. I think their linebacking core hustles hard, gets to the ball. Defensive front is good, not great. I think it was better last year than it is this year. They might be missing a couple players, but all that is moot when, like you said, your corners can't really do anything to help you or make any big plays. And if you look at pretty much all the defenses this year, nobody's defense is just like, oh my gosh, we stopping everything. But the one thing that has been consistent through a lot of these teams in the Super Serien is that most of these defenses on the back end, somebody is making plays. Like you with AIK, you'll see a DB make a good play. Tyresö, obviously, DV is out there balling. And just like I said last week, Predators, number 13, making plays for a defense that's not playing great, but they're making plays to keep them in the game. We haven't seen that from Stockholm. Nobody has stepped up and made a play that has been enough for them to overcome bad defensive play. And I think that's what they're missing is somebody that can be that guy. I mean, unfortunately, they don't have an Alpha Jallo, so they just don't have anyone on the defensive side that's making those like game changing plays. And in this league, that's kind of what teams are doing to win games is give up a lot of yards, give up points, make big plays when you need them. And that's what teams are doing to win. And Stockholm hasn't done that yet. And that's why they're not winning. So I think in this game, somebody needs to step up. They need to have a defensive stop that changes my mind about their defense and changes this game for them to get a win. So that's what I'm gonna give them for, motivation. Hopefully that helps for them. Last game we got Tyresö Royal Crowns versus K Town Predators. What does Tyresö got to do to get the dub?
Um, I'm very excited for this game actually. But I'll keep this one quite simple. I think that Tyresö can't get big headed and thinking that um, Kristianstad hasn't beaten anybody. We can say like, oh, they beat Stockholm, but man, look at Stockholm. Stockholm ain't nothing right now. But Tyresö hasn't proven that Stockholm isn't nothing yet. But I think the main thing is they cannot fall asleep on the offense of Kristianstad. They have playmakers, so I think where this, I keep using the same word all the time. It's a mental battle. It's a mental battle. I mean, that's the storyline that's in my head. That how I'm seeing it. They just cannot think that Kristianstad is there in the south.
I want to jump in about that. I think when you keep saying the mental battle, it's because we're so late in the season. Like a lot, we've seen all the physical and strategy so far. We're in week 10 now. Everybody knows everything. So the mental toughness that some of these teams have down the stretch is the difference. I think that's why you keep repeating it. I want you to know that's a good thing that you're saying that I think that has a lot to do with where they are in the season. Sorry, I just had to throw
Each
that in
team
there.
has
Give you
different. Yeah,
flowers.
no, you good. No, you're right. Each team has different mental battles. I think this one for them is like, where is the game going to be played? Actually,
I think
maybe
Tyresö's at
Tyresö
home.
need to go down there. I'm not sure. Let's see.
I got
Oh
it
yeah, it's in
written as
Tyresö.
Tyresö at home.
Yeah. No,
So
you're right.
yeah.
You're correct. It's in Tyresö. So, you mean eh, sometimes Tyresö they don't play so good at their home. I don't know why, but they don't always play super good at their home. So that's another
Maybe
thing
they
that they
don't
got
like
to
the
do.
field.
Yeah.
You get a stadium,
So
stadium.
I would say that I would say that for them. They know what they can do on offense. I think that arguably that Jay's the best QB in the league. Just with his playing style and with the options that he's been having. I'm glad that I think Kevin Borsay was back. If I saw him right, it looked like him on the football field. But either way, he got another playmaker back for him, and defensively, their linebacker core, they're doing a good job stopping the run. I love 44 and I love Brock.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm gonna say for Tyresö to win, I think they have to. I'm not gonna say throw the kitchen sink at them, but I say test the Predators. Just keep testing them. What we've seen Tyresö do well is they win games when they get big plays. Like that's how they score. They rarely nickel and dime you down the field. I think I seen them do it one time in the last game toward like on their like third touchdown. I think they did it where they like drove down the field. That might have been the first time I've seen it all year. But normally they're like a 40, 50-yard play to score every time. And I think in this game, that's likely to happen a lot because the Predators defense is streaky. They'll give up a huge play every once in a while. And I think if Tyresö just keeps taking those huge plays, they'll be fine and put up a lot of points in this game. And then on the defensive side, it's pretty simple. Stop the big play receiver, number 12, and then try to contain the quarterback. I think they do have to look out for K-Town's quarterback because I think Miles Richardson is playing great this year. And just kind of keeping him corralled instead of rushing him hard, unless they for sure can get the sack, which the Tyresö D line is capable of. But if you can't get there, instead of trying to fight through that offensive lineman, just wait because he'll probably end up running because his receivers don't really create separation or anything. Predators offense usually does well when he either freestyles it or they have a matchup advantage with the number 12 receiver. The rest of the receivers really haven't done much to like separate themselves unless they're like wide ass open because of the play concept. So as long as Tyresö is able to just play regular defense and put pressure on him, they don't have to over pressure him to like stop that offense. I think they'll be capable of doing it. And if they put up enough points offensively and make a lot of big plays, they'll have K-Town Predators in a hole trying to catch up instead of trying to play, hit for hit with them. So flipping to the other side, K-Town Predators, what they got to do to pull upset, man? Or is it
Yeah,
possible for them to pull upset?
I do think it's actually possible because I think that Tyresö can be sleeping on them. You know, I mean, Kristianstad, KP, we can go with that. They on a winning streak right now. They only been winning. They lost 2 games and they're on a winning streak right now. And this will be one of their biggest tests to see if they're actually a playoff team. Because right now, if you look at the standings, they sit at the number 4 spot. They do. Um, so like this is one of the wins that they need to make sure that look, this is my tips for them. Make sure you guys get a good rest
Really?
because you're gonna have a long bus ride up to Stockholm. Make sure you guys get the best sleep that you can. Offensively, I think they already know what to do. Their main
All right. There you go.
yeah. So offensively, sorry.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, excuse us, guys. We having a lot of
This
technical
laptop
difficulties. But I got a phone
is
call.
very hard to work. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But anyways, though, offensively, I do think they have some of the tools that can help them. I think that they need to have a strategic game plan how they can beat some of these DBs deep. You know, I think they're gonna have to mix up putting their best receivers inside of the slot. Um, that might be a tip for them, but I think that Michael, I think his name is Michael, right? The QB.
Oh, Miles is Miles
Any,
Richardson.
be a general, um, be that guy to hold down the team because if they play like how they played against Limhamn, you know, it's not going to be so great, you know, for them. But get a good night's lead, play well. Defensively, I think that them guys got to make sure they stay poised. You know, don't let the cuteness of Tyresö's scheme get to their head and make them think that they're doing something a lot different. Because I think that might be the biggest challenge for them. So if they can, you know, get up offensively like how they did against Stockholm, and you know their defense just like hold on a little bit. That's I mean, it don't sound good. Like your coach can say, "Hey guys, let's not do offense going to do this." You know what I mean? Or if he could be real with them, but I think that's my advice. You know, try to stay ahead. You know, try to make it a shootout if you can, but stay ahead of the shootout.
Craziest thing I've heard today. This man said the cuteness of their offense, of Tyresö's offense. The cuteness. Don't worry about the
They got some
cuteness
cute
of it.
things, bro.
That's crazy.
Uh,
They do some cute things. Oh, that's funny to me. That's a good word choice. Um, for me, I think K Town can do an upset because Tyresö is not infallible. But I think offensively, what's going to happen is going to happen. Either you're going to get those plays or you're not. And because Tyresö will give you some big plays on offense as well. But defensively, they have to limit the explosive plays. And I think it's one of those things where you have to be on your P's and Q's the whole time. I don't know if the Predators defense can do that, but this is the type of game that you have to do it. If you get Tyresö to go three and out, three and out, three and out, be vigilant that next drive because that's when it's going to happen. Like they're that type of team that they can be doing nothing offensively and then all of a sudden hit you over the head for a 60-yarder. Double V will make one person miss and then outrun your whole defense. Or Jay will roll out, make a defender miss, set his feet, and then launch that bitch about 50 yards in the air to the end zone. And that's the whole game. You got to do that for 4 quarters. At any moment, they can score big. I think for the Predators, their only way to win this game is to play 4 whole quarters of football. They can't take any breaks or take anything for granted on the defensive side. They can't think that they are in advantage. If they're winning 21-0 in this game, it is not over. That offense is capable. You can't change the way you're going to play defense if you're ahead or if you're losing. You have to play them straight the entire time. I think if they do that, they'll be fine. But if they let Tyresö hang around, kind of like what AIK did when they played them, is just let them stay close. You don't want to get into. You said you want to get into a shootout. I don't think you want to get into a shootout with them because I don't think your offense is as big play as their offense is.
yeah,
No
I'm a
offense.
little bit
And
off where I
also
stand.
their
So you,
defense is more I mean
uh,
it's fine. It's a good strategy though. Like
yeah, I
if
think
you stay
they
ahead
got
of
to
them,
score
yeah.
points. They got to
Like
score points. You know,
yeah,
they got to score points.
yeah, obviously. I'm just saying defensively for K Town, you don't want them scoring a lot, but you also just don't want them scoring big plays. If they march down the field and score on you, you can take that because that's very hard for them to do. Tyresö, what they'll do is if you make them go 5 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, 5 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards, they'll mess up. They'll either mess up or they'll try to go deep or they'll try to make a big play. And you can predict that. But if you let them make those big plays, you never know what they're going to do because then they'll just start doing it all the time. And then that's the situation you don't want to get into is trying to compete bomb them. Now, you want to do drive for drive, yeah, but you just don't want them like feeling like, oh, we can go deep or we can have a big play at any moment. So I think one thing that the Predators did last week really well was create turnovers. You can create turnovers against them and press them, and more likely to make mistake big plays instead of consistent big plays. And then you're in an advantage situation. And then you can go tit for tat. So really I just want them on the defensive side to limit big plays and stay focused for 4 quarters because that's the biggest thing I would be afraid of from the Tyresö offense is that they can score at any time. Again, I still believe they're the most talented team in the league. So if then a curse for them, but it's just the facts of what it is. All right, now we get into the fourth quarter. Let's get into our picks for the weekend. We'll talk about who we have and why. Picks will also be available on Instagram at Pro Football Sweden, where you make your comments. No need to fuzz in the DMs. First game of the week: Copenhagen Towers and Limhamn Griffins. Who do you got and why, Juice?
Yeah, honestly, I would love to think that I could be wrong about this one. I think that Copenhagen Towers actually, this might be the win week for them, but I'm still going to choose Limhamn Griffins just because Copenhagen only proved themselves to be decent against Tyresö one time, and that's all that they have done. They haven't proven themselves yet, so I have to go with the Griffins.
I agree with you. I'm going with the Griffins because Copenhagen hasn't really. They have not done anything to make me think that they can win this game, especially since they lost a couple weeks ago. Second game of the week, we have Carlstad Crusaders versus Stockholm Mean Machine. Who do you have and why?
I'm going with the Crusaders, and what I wrote down in my notes is that Crusaders defense is just too strong, and Slade Jarman and the OC of Carlstad is going to just attack the weak leagues every time they need to. Like they might get to third down when it comes to third down. They're just going to take advantage of what they know is a weak league. I do think that Stockholm's offense is going to be able to challenge the strong defense of Carlstad, but it's not going to work the whole game. And it's okay. And I think the reason why Stockholm will lose is because I just think their weak links on defense, the secondary, and their linebacker play is not so consistent right now. It's going to be because their defense.
I I'm going the same team for almost the same reasons. I think Carlstad. I'm going to switch it up a little bit different though. I think Carlstad is going to be able to run the ball on the Mean Machines, and I think once they start running the ball, that's going to be the end of it because the Mean Machines will have to try to focus on the run. They're going to get a matchup situation in the pass game. Jarman's going to throw it all over the yard, and then you're just in a situation you don't want to be in defensively. I don't think the Stockholm Mean Machine defense can handle Carlstad's offense. And I think Carlstad's going to put them in a we need to score situation early, and from that situation, I don't think their offense is going to be able to respond in kind. I I don't think this year's offense has the same firepower as maybe last year's offense, or maybe they just haven't shown it yet. But I haven't seen enough to think that they can keep up with Carlstad. I think Carlstad could put up 40 in this game. I don't think Stockholm can score 40.
Yeah,
I'm saying
I
it,
mean
but I
that's
don't
what it's
think
gonna
they can
come
score
down.
40
That's
off.
what it's gonna come down to. Like
So
they're gonna have to get the
there's
ball
just
to
not
Matt,
much they
get the
can
ball
do.
to the receivers. They only have to get the ball to like their playmakers, which is going to be the receiving. But I don't think that Stockholm is going to be able to run the ball against them. Like Matik Eriksson is just
Oh yeah, they're
too
not
much.
gonna be able to run either. I mean,
Like,
Casper can run, but not against Carlstad. Yeah.
uh, and you got Roy Kelly over there too, and he's such a smart and good football player. You know,
Yeah, not sure what they
and
would do
he
against
can't
that.
even he can't even show he can't even show it because Matthias is just dominating. But man, let me hop off of Matthias real quick, man. Let me hop off.
I mean, you just called it like you said. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Uh, I'm trying to check this damn thing. This laptop is horrible. I'll never do it on this laptop again. That's my fault. Last game we have Tyresö Royal Crowns and K Town Predators. Who do you have and why?
Uh, I'm going with um, Tyresö, and the reason why is because I think that V
Mhm.
double V Vilgo is going to have a game against them. I don't think they're going to be able to stop him. I really just don't. Um, and if they do manage to, like Jay, like his leadership on the offense is just is there. Hopefully this curse of not playing so great at home won't be a factor. But double V and number 4 is going to have a day. The other receiver force, um, just the backfield alone, that presence I think is going to be too much for Kristianstad.
I'm also gonna go with Tyresö, but I'm gonna keep my reasons simple and non-football related. I think K
Don't say the
Town's gonna
teams.
wear those ugly ass gray uniforms again, and for that they should lose. These things are ugly. I don't know why they don't get like either orange or white. Why gray? Like, and then it's like orange and blue on gray, and you can't see the numbers or nothing. Like, it, it's crazy because the blue, orange, and even gray combination, it can look good. The Denver Broncos have some ideas that you can look at. Boise State has some jerseys that you could look at and be like, hey, we want to do it like that. But whatever they doing, the blue ones I can barely see the numbers. I normally can't see the numbers anyways because the orange on blue is don't make sense. But the gray ones, like the numbers are like small and scrunched or something, and I still can't see them. And they're gonna probably wear those ugly things because I think that's their away jersey. So for that, they're gonna lose. You can't win in ugly jerseys. It just ain't how the game works. Terrasug gonna come out in them red joints, 135 on there. They're gonna be all nice and crisp, solid colors, block numbers. That's that's the uniform of a winner. Uniform of a winner out there in Terrasug. 135, baby. Right? Yeah, 135.
Yeah.
Right. That's it for this episode of Pro Football Sweden. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties, but we kind of threw this together as I was coming back from the other country. I had time, so we tried to make this work. I don't think it went well, but something's better than nothing. Any last things? Any overtime topics you want to throw out there, Juice?
Just, o- just only one. I wanted to give some swag points, but man, it's so hard because Oslo their uniforms to me look so good. Uh, Number 10 from Oslo is looking good. 25. Dre has some fire cleats.
Oh, I love them.
Um, and I had to give some swag points to baby Linnaeus. Linnaeus. Um, I love the little ski mask. Little white boy gangster underneath the helmet. Um, it looked fire to me. But man, I just wish Oslo can just play better this year because their unis to me look so good. And a lot of like, and it was a lot of other players that actually were swaggy on them, but those guys stood out the most for Oslo.
For my overtime, I just want to talk a little bit about the
Playoffs.
football camps in the States. Because again, I was there for about a week in Atlanta, went to a couple of them with Kings of Europe. And I saw a lot of the guys that were with like the PPI tour were on the same like camps and saw a lot of like Swedish players. I think I saw a couple Norwegian players, a lot of international players in general. And it was just good to see. I was just throwing it out there that Sweden was well represented, and a lot of the national players um, were getting offers. They were competing well. It looked really good out there. So it's a really good thing to see that Europe is doing well with the youth playing American football. And a lot of guys are taking that opportunity because recently it just hadn't seemed like as many guys were serious about going to the States and people kind of relying on, oh, I'll just go to ELF, which is cool. It's cool if that's what you want to do. But a lot of the kids are still taking the opportunity and trying to get seen by college coaches. So I just props to all you guys who are still doing that, and good luck to anybody who's taking that route of trying to get into a college in the States. So with that, we are out today. Good luck to all the teams this weekend. We'll be back next week, probably better recording because I'll be back to my regular schedule, and we'll have more insights and opinions. So please like, follow, and subscribe on all social channels at Pro Football Sweden. See you next time, guys. Deuce.
Y'all, hey, though.